And I'm back. Not looking the best because I got on a skull head, but I think I still look alright. So hey. And I just wanted to come today and kind of just break down some things that I've been dealing with and what I'm going through. So it's not about fitness or health right now, but just freeing my mind was like the number one thing I had to learn how to do. Because for the longest time I didn't know how to free my mind, and I would always like be worried and concerned about what others thought about me, and I don't know where that came from, that feeling came from, because when I was younger, I was like super cocky. I always thought like I could do whatever I wanted to do, because it's just how I was raised, and that was the environment that I was in. Especially like the school I went to, like elementary school, they always taught us like to strive for excellence, and I was always like really good at like stuff that I didn't think a lot that some people wasn't good at. Like I was always really good at like school, science fairs and stuff like in elementary school. I would ace them. Like I would get like an A and like everything. And like when the spelling bee came around, I was just like that kid that was a little creepy weird, because it's like, how the hell are you this good at spelling? How the hell are you this good at getting an A on your science project, whatever? I didn't have any anxiety when it came to like getting up in front of the class and like presenting myself to people. I actually enjoyed it. I was like, oh, I can't wait till it's my turn. I was always like that one kid that when it was time to get up to present, I'm like, yeah, me first. And I was always like, I guess I was like a natural thing to me, because I just kind of picked up a lot of traits from my mother. My mother, she's kind of like an overachiever, so I kind of developed into that when I was younger. And so when it came down to like, even like in track, running a race, or like, you know, like specifically running the race. When it come down to running the race, if, you know, it was ready, set, go, I was gonna like get out there and go hard and try to, you know, beat everybody in the race. That was just my mind frame. Or if it came down to like, again, like the spelling bee, I was gonna sweat bullets and try to figure these words out. You know, I was gonna stay up all night so I can learn all the words on the spelling list. And I wanted to show off too, so we do like a curtsy and smile, maybe do like a twirl, because I was just that extra kid. You know, I was like, oh, I gotta show off and show everybody how good of a speller I am, how much I know, yada yada. And so like, I didn't want to like look like an idiot, so I was like, I gotta make sure that I, you know, enunciate the words when I say the word. After, you know, they tell you to say the word like pronunciation, like I have to enunciate pronunciation. I just always wanted to be the kid that was like stand out, you know, so I stood out the crowd, like pop. I wanted to pop. If it came down to a hairstyle, I wanted my hairstyle to be different, like do mine like this. So I wasn't a shy kid. I wasn't a wallflower of a kid. I saw, you know, one day I walked past the cafeteria, I was like in the 4th grade, and I saw the kids playing orchestra. I'm like, oh my God, I gotta be on the orchestra. They was like, well, to be in the orchestra, you have to know how to play. You have to know how to read the music, and you have to know how to play instruments. I was like, well, I want to learn. And whether she took me to go get the viola, we rented a viola from this place somewhere here in St. Louis. And I was just like, I got to learn how to play this thing. So I would stay up at night just to learn how to play the viola, like read music. So I was like really outgoing. I was like, I want the solo. I was like never the, you know, type of kid. Some kids are like naturally nervous and have anxiety. I didn't have any. And it was like, even when it came down to like, you know, the planetarium, I wanted to be the line leader. I wanted to be, you know, I was just really a jump out the air kid. Like I just wanted to just jump up and be seen, and everything I wanted to play. I want to have fun. It was my turn. And so, you know, I've kind of like for the last 2 to 3 years, I kind of felt out of place, because I'm like, growing up I was really outgoing, and so I've kind of been like more of an introvert. And first it made me kind of feel weird, like, why am I being such an introvert? But it's just been like a lot of anxiety that I've had to deal with, especially like at work, and feeling like you can't trust people, and people that hurt you, you know, you be like, wow, you know, I didn't see this coming. And you start to look at yourself like, well, maybe I played myself in this situation, especially when it comes to like dating and stuff. I started to feel like, well, maybe I'm playing myself for trusting people, not feeling this way, not feeling that way. And I started to feel like I can't trust anybody. And that was like, you know, it's been going on for the last 2 to 3 years. So now I'm just starting to realize like, well, wow, the reason why I was going through so much is because sorry. The reason why I was going through so much is because I was holding on to control. And the things that I couldn't control in the situation were paying my car note on time. And I had a lot of anxiety about that because when I first bought the car, I really only had like a part-time job. And I was living on my own, paying rent, trying to pay for tuition and paying for everything out of pocket by myself. And I never had, when like a lot of college kids, when they first go to college, they might have somebody telling them like, do this way. Even if they're not helping you pay the bills, they're showing you how to do things. I missed that sector. I didn't live with my mother when I was younger, like a teenager. So, you know, from ages like 14 to 19, I didn't live with my mother. So I was missing that chunk of, you know, just knowing what to do for that lifespan. You know, I didn't have any guidance. I didn't have anybody to tell me how to spend money, how to save money, what to do with money, like, you know, or how to even do things on a budget. So I kind of just had to learn how to do things on a budget, how to have enough time to cook and clean the house and go to school and go to work and not stress out about paying the bills, because that's all I would worry about. Even when I would go on like little dates and stuff, I find myself talking about my bills, like I can't pay my bills, like and then of course the guys like probably around that age, I was 22, 21, 22, they didn't have a house. They were just like, man, won't you just move back in with your parents? And I'm like, well, you don't get it, because I've been on my own for so long. My mother doesn't even want me living with her. So it's like I'm kind of forced out on my own. And I kind of appreciate this now, because I was like, when I was younger, I would have, you know, cry about stuff, because I really got down and depressed about not having money, because that was to the point where I would lose a job. And then sometimes it was like some trivial shit, because I had a nice, pure heart about people's intentions of me, and they didn't have the right intentions about me. They would treat me like, oh, this is just a play job, you didn't really need this job. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I'm about to be outside on the streets. And I would stress myself out, and that's where a lot of my weight gain had came from. I'm starting to realize that. I used to be like, oh, the reason why you're gaining weight is because you're stressed out. No, not stressed out. I would say it's because you're overeating, you're not having enough time for this. And it was because I was always constantly stressed and holding on to so much anxiety, and letting my anxiety got so point to the point where I was going to go to see somebody, a psychologist or therapist or something. But what I thought about it, I started researching. I said, what can help me? And I realized exercising was the only thing that was going to help me with my anxiety. So once I started exercising and drinking water, moving around, I started to feel better. And then I started seeing people who do it like me every day. And I was just like, okay, well, maybe I need to start worrying about this. And when I started pulling myself away from the stuff that was making me feel nauseated and anxiety, and I started realizing it's people that's around me that are toxic. Toxic people made me sick. And it made me sick in the form of obesity and sickness, and wanting to eat bad food, because I was always around them and they was negative, and I was trying to work so many hours on the job and work 2-3 jobs. So it was a lot of pressure that I had on myself, and I didn't understand how to just really, you know, just remove myself from that. And when I started to like want to do better, I felt like things were getting worse, because I kind of found myself not having enough time to always